The year is 1775. Imagine standing on a quiet farm in Massachusetts as the air fills with the echo of musket fire. Ordinary farmers, men with no uniforms, no empire, no king, are facing down the most powerful army on earth. How could 13 scattered colonies challenge an empire that stretched across the globe? And more importantly, how did they win? This is not just a story of war. It's the story of rebellion, unity, and the birth of a nation. Stay with us, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden history revealed. The mid-18th century world was dominated by one crown, Britain's. The Union Jack fluttered over oceans, colonies, and trade routes, making Britain the wealthiest empire in history. Across the Atlantic, however, 13 colonies lived under its shadow, stretched from New England's cold harbors to Georgia's fertile fields. These colonists were British subjects, loyal in name, yet restless in spirit. Life in the colonies was raw but promising. Farmers tilled fresh soil, merchants traded goods, and ideas of liberty flowed in taverns and town squares. But prosperity came at a cost. Britain's coffers, drained by wars in Europe, demanded payment. Taxes on paper, tea, and everyday goods fell on colonial shoulders. To the crown, these were fair dues. To the colonists, they were shackles. It began with whispers. Pamphlets passed from hand to hand. Voices raised in Boston streets. Men like Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry thundered against tyranny, while writers like Thomas Paine fanned the flames with words of rebellion. Yet many still hesitated. To defy Britain was to defy the greatest power alive. But pressure was mounting. The spark of revolution was only moments away. The storm broke in Boston. In 1773, the Boston Tea Party sent a shocking message. "We will not be chained." Britain struck back with harsh punishments, closing harbors and tightening control. Tension thickened in every street, every meeting hall. By April 1775, the first shots rang out at Lexington and Concord. The shot heard round the world transformed scattered protests into open war. Farmers, blacksmiths, and shopkeepers now marched with muskets on their shoulders, facing red-coated soldiers trained in the art of empire. George Washington soon took command. He was tall, reserved, but carried a quiet resolve. His Continental Army was fragile, poorly armed, barely clothed, and often hungry. Against them stood Britain's military machine, warships with thundering cannons, disciplined regiments, and mercenaries bought with gold. But the colonies had something Britain did not: unyielding will. Liberty or death became their creed. The war stretched across valleys and rivers, from the icy crossing at Delaware to the bloody trenches at Yorktown. Spies traded secrets in candlelit rooms, militias struck from forests, and alliances shifted like shadows. France entered the fray, sending fleets and gold to tip the balance. Suddenly, Britain was not facing rebellious farmers. It was facing a world war. And yet, doubt never faded. Every winter the army starved. Every defeat raised whispers that independence was madness. But each hardship forged unity. Letters from soldiers spoke of brothers dying for freedom. In Philadelphia, delegates debated through sleepless nights, finally declaring in 1776, "We are free." With the stroke of a pen, 13 colonies proclaimed themselves a nation. The risk was colossal. For every patriot, there was a loyalist ready to betray them. For every battle won, a dozen more threatened to undo it all. The revolution had entered its most perilous hour. Yorktown, 1781. The final gamble. Washington and his French allies marched swiftly, surrounding British forces under General Cornwallis. Trapped between land and sea, the once mighty redcoats found themselves cornered. Cannons thundered through the night. Smoke choked the fields as trenches closed tighter around the enemy. The air trembled with every roar of gunfire, every cry of defiance. The colonists, once dismissed as ragged rebels, now fought with the discipline of a nation born in war. Cornwallis, realizing escape was impossible, surrendered. The sight stunned the world. An empire that had conquered continents was forced to bow before a people it once considered insignificant. The impossible had happened. The colonies had broken their chains. But victory came with scars. Fields lay in ashes, families divided, thousands dead. Yet amid the grief, something new stirred. Identity, a belief that ordinary men and women could shape destiny, that freedom was worth any price. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 confirmed what Yorktown had proved. The United States of America was real. The world had witnessed the unthinkable. An empire defeated not by wealth or might, but by determination, unity, and the relentless pursuit of liberty. This revolution lit sparks far beyond America. France, Haiti, and nations across Europe would rise in their own quests for freedom, inspired by the 13 colonies that defied an empire. Yet, America's journey was only beginning. The ideals written in the Declaration of Independence, "All men are created equal," would haunt and challenge the nation for centuries to come. Still, the revolution remains a reminder. Power can be challenged, and history is not written by kings alone. It is carved by those who dare to stand, even against impossible odds. So as we look back on the gunfire at Lexington, the courage at Valley Forge, and the triumph at Yorktown, we see not just a war, but the birth of an idea. The American Revolution was not just a fight for independence. It was a fight for the future. If you learned something new today, like, share, and subscribe for more hidden history. And tell us in the comments, which part of history should we explore next?